Nearly 2,000 years ago, a small city on the banks of the Tiber River grew into one of the most powerful empires the world had ever seen. The Roman Empire reshaped the world in ways that are still visible today, influencing laws, languages, architecture, religion, and even the roads many people travel on every day. But there is a question historians rarely stop to ask. What if Rome never existed at all? What if the Roman Empire never rose to power? No Caesars, no Roman legions marching across continents, no vast network of Roman roads linking cities from Britain to the Middle East. Would Europe still look the way it does today? Would Christianity have spread across the world, or would history have taken an entirely different path? To understand that possibility, we need to go back to the very beginning, because Rome did not begin as a mighty empire. Its origins were fragile and uncertain. According to legend, the city was founded in 753 BC by Romulus and Remus, twin brothers raised by a she-wolf. But in reality, Rome began as nothing more than a small settlement among many others scattered across the Italian peninsula. The region at the time was filled with powerful neighbors. The Etruscans dominated much of northern Italy. Greek colonies had already established themselves along the southern coasts, and numerous tribes competed for land, influence, and survival. In this environment, Rome could easily have disappeared before it ever became important. A single lost war, a stronger rival city, or a political collapse might have erased Rome from history entirely. If that had happened, the Roman Republic would never have formed, and the empire that later controlled 3 continents would never have existed. When we look back at history, it often feels inevitable, as if great empires were always destined to rise. But in reality, history is shaped by fragile moments where events could easily have unfolded differently. If Rome had vanished early on, the entire structure of European civilization might have taken another path. One of Rome's greatest achievements was not simply conquest, but connection. As the empire expanded, it built an enormous network that linked distant regions together. Roman engineers constructed more than 400,000 kilometers of roads, stretching across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. These roads allowed armies to move quickly, trade to flourish, and ideas to travel vast distances. Without Rome, Europe might have remained far more fragmented for much longer. Instead of large, organized states, the continent could have stayed divided into small tribal regions with limited contact between them. Trade networks might have developed slowly, large cities might have been far less common, and the idea of a shared European civilization might never have emerged in the way we understand it today. Rome did not simply rule territory, it created the infrastructure that allowed complex societies to grow across an enormous area. Another powerful legacy of Rome was language. The Romans spread Latin across their empire, and over centuries, that language evolved into several of the modern languages spoken by hundreds of millions of people today. Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian all trace their roots back to Latin. Without the Roman Empire, Latin might have remained a small regional language spoken only in central Italy. The languages of Europe could have developed in completely different directions, shaped instead by Celtic, Germanic, or Greek influences. Even the alphabet used across much of the modern world spread through Roman influence. In many ways, the words people speak today are echoes of Rome's ancient voice. Perhaps the most profound question, however, is how the absence of Rome might have affected religion. Christianity began as a small religious movement in the Roman province of Judea during the 1st century. At first, Roman authorities persecuted Christians and viewed them as a threat to social order, but over time the situation changed dramatically. In 313 AD, Emperor Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, which legalized Christianity within the Roman Empire. Eventually, Christianity became the empire's dominant religion and spread widely through Roman cities, trade routes, and administrative networks. Without the infrastructure and political unity of the Roman Empire, Christianity might have struggled to expand far beyond its region of origin. It might have remained a small movement in the Middle East rather than becoming one of the world's largest religions. Europe might have remained largely pagan for centuries longer, or different religious traditions might have shaped the continent instead. Removing Rome from history creates a massive ripple effect across time. The Byzantine Empire, which continued the legacy of Rome in the Eastern Mediterranean, might never have existed. The Holy Roman Empire, which later shaped medieval European politics, would not have formed. Even the Renaissance, when European scholars rediscovered the knowledge, art, and philosophy of ancient Rome, might never have happened in the same way. Without Rome's influence on law, governance, engineering, and culture, the entire timeline of European development could have looked dramatically different. It raises an intriguing possibility. If Rome had never existed, would Europe still have become the center of global power during the last 5 centuries, or might another civilization have shaped the modern world instead? The Western Roman Empire officially fell in 476 AD, yet in many ways, Rome never truly disappeared. Its ideas continued to shape governments, legal systems, languages, architecture, and political thought long after the empire itself collapsed. Which leads to a deeper question, not simply what the world would look like without Rome, but how much of the modern world is still built on the foundations Rome created. Sometimes the most powerful empires do more than rule the world for a time. They reshape the course of history for thousands of years to come.